morning, student. In this video, I will cover 7 principles of Henry Fayol out of 14 principles of management. He is Henry Fayol. Let us know about his background. He was a French management theorist. His lifespan ranged from the year 1841 to 1925, and he was a engineering graduate in mining engineering. This was his qualification, and his work experience. He started his career at the age of 19, and he rose to the post of managing director from the year 1888 to 1981. And his contribution in the field of management, as you know well, he is popularly known as the father of general management, and his principle was basically focused on increasing the managerial efficiency by controlling the production cost. And he was the first person to identify the 4 functions of management, as we have studied the 5 functions, but he was the first person who identified the 4 functions of management, that was plan, organize, command and control. Command, that is refers to directing. This was the 4th function he recognized, and his 14th principle was published in the book named General and Industrial Management in 1949. This is some of the important point that is highlighted. You must remember about him. Now, let us see, there is very easy technique to remember his 14 principle. This is just one of the trick you can apply, like a question from a son, Dad, you see USSR? Reply by his father, OIC. So this line, these 2 sentences covers all 14 principles. See here, Dad, D stand for division of work, A stand for authority and responsibility, D stand for discipline, U stand for unity of command, C stand for centralization and decentralization, U stand for unity of direction, S stand for scalar chain, S stand for stability of tenure, and R stand for remuneration. Now O stand for order, I stand for initiative, S stand for subordination of individual interest to general interest, E stand for equity, and again E stand for spirit the corps. So this is one of the technique. If you will remember this 2 sentences, definitely you will remember all 14 principles. Now in this video I will cover 7 principles, because it is not possible to cover all 14 principles in a single video. Now see here, the list is given which I am going to cover today. First is division of work, second authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction, subordination of individual to general interest, and remuneration of employee. And my presentation is, first you see the picture, then we will come to the meaning of the principle, and I will explain each principle with example. You just watch the picture. This is the picture. See, in the office there are 4 chambers and everyone is busy in their work. By this picture, what idea is coming, which principle it is representing? Means everyone is doing their own work on the basis of their capability, their interest, these jobs are assigned by the management, and all are busy in their work. So it means ki by this you can say that this is what division of work. According to this principle, he said that as far as possible, the whole work should be divided into small parts, and each individual should be assigned only one part of work according to his ability, and test repeatedly so that the benefit of specialization may be achieved. So by this line, I think meaning is clear that work should be assigned on the basis of his ability and test, and repeatedly doing the same work again and again, that leads to specialization. And see, this I am explaining with example. Z Limited may divide various job of the organization into separate department like production, finance, marketing and human resource department. The work of each of this department is assigned to the employees in accordance to their potential so that work can be performed in the best possible manner. At the same time, all the departments collectively strives to achieve the desired goal of the organization as a whole. So this is what the motive behind this, to achieve the organizational goals. His guideline was that to divide the work on the basis of the capability and interest of the individual. Now, I will just discuss, if you will follow this principle, if this principle will be followed in any organization, what are its positive effect, and if it is not followed, then what are its negative effect. See, it is pointed out here. Positive impact, if followed in organization, what are its positive impact? That is, advantage of specialization will be achieved, increases in the quality of work. Definitely expert can do better, can do in a better way. Increasing the speed of the work, definitely if same work is done again and again, speed will increase. And decreases in the wastage of resources because it is handled by the expert person. And if it is not followed, what is the consequences the organization can suffer? That work efficiency of the workers will be reduced. If continuous, if a single person is given lots of assignment, lots of work, then definitely his efficiency will be reduced, and of course benefit of specializations will not be available, because he will be a master of none if he is doing so many work at a time. Now, I think the meaning is very clear to you. Now let's move to the second principle. See one of the picture here, authority and responsibility. Authority and responsibility. And this picture shows that if power is given more as compared to responsibility, that is also not good for the organization. So work should be given as according to the authority. Side by side, authority should also be given to the subordinate so that he can smoothly perform his function. Now let us see the meaning. According to this principle, he emphasizes that authority and responsibility should go hand in hand. It means that when a particular individual is given a particular work and he is made responsible for the result, this can be possible only when he has sufficient authority to discharge his responsibility. Means, to do work, simply giving responsibility is not sufficient. He should be given power for whatever the resources is required to execute the power. If execute the work, if power is not given, then how the work will be completed by him? So side by side, both should be given to a individual. See with example, Mr. A, production manager in a company, he has been asked to increase the production turnover of jeans from 500 unit to 700 unit per day. Okay, and at the same time he is not given sufficient authority to get the extra raw material issued from the store. Then what is the use of giving this responsibility? As a result, Mr. A is not able to raise the production to the desired level. I think now the meaning is very clear, that by giving responsibility, appropriate authority should also be given to individual so that the desired goal can be achieved. And let's see what is its impact, positive and negative. If this principle is followed in any organization, it is going to help in achieving the target and increase, of course, the confidence of employees too. And if it is not followed in any organization, wrong use of authority, in case more authority is given than is needed, means excessive of anything is dangerous. If more authority is given than responsibility, that may be misused by the individual. And difficulty in achieving the target in case of lesser facilities given. Again, this example is given कि Mr. A cannot achieve his goal if authority is not given. Cannot fix accountability of the subordinate because he is not answerable for the outcome because he has not given the appropriate authority to execute the work effectively. And then decline in the confidence of the employees. Employee will also be not confident because he is not completing the work as assigned by the management. So this is what the consequences if this principle is not followed in any organization. Now move to the third principle of Henry Fayol. See what idea you are getting by seeing this picture. One is very hurried to reach the office and one is in the proper uniform. What does it shows? Each organization should have a timetable, a fixed timetable and proper uniform so that this is shows the discipline of any organization. And in school also you just see how it is important to be disciplined, come on time, reach the class on time, come in proper uniform. So this is all about the discipline. Same here effort in any organization, if discipline is followed, definitely that organization reached at top. Now let us see the meaning. According to this principle, the organizational rules and employment agreement should be obeyed by both the superior and subordinate, which are necessary for the successful working of the organization. Means these rules are not only for only employees, this is equally applicable to even boss also. Both should be disciplined. If boss is coming late to the office, then this is what the message go to employee, that time is not so important. And equally employees should also be on time. So this is applicable to both superior as well as subordinate, and this is one of the key to reach at the success. With example, the employees of McDonald's was required to sanitize their hands every 30 minutes. So this time even it is applicable to all individuals that we should wash our hand for 20 seconds after for half an hour or 1 hour. But just for example, it is said कि every employee has to follow this. They have to sanitize their hand every 30 minutes. So this is what the discipline of that organization McDonald. See what its positive or negative effect. If it is followed in any organization, what is its positive effect? Increase in the efficiency of the employees and better labor management relation. Means there is everyone is following the same discipline, same rules and regulations, so there is a better label management. Everyone is knowing their timing of coming, going, their uniform, so there is no confusion regarding this. And if it is not followed, then there is a height of disorder. There is no timetable, anyone is coming according to his will, and anyone is going out without asking anyone from his boss. So this is what the height of disorder, and that ultimately leads to decline in the confidence of the employees. So this is what about the principal discipline. Now let us move to our fourth principle. First, you see this picture. What idea you're getting? There is one boss. He is giving the order to all their subordinate. Move according to his what order he is giving, they should follow. So there are only one person who is giving the order. So this is what this picture is highlighted, that shows that there should be a unity of command. Means order should be given by one boss, not more than one boss. Otherwise subordinate will be confused. Now let us see the meaning with example. According to this principle, an individual employee should receive order from only one superior at a time, and that employee should be answerable only to that superior. And this is also key. Individual should know whom I am answerable to. If there are four bosses, then he will be confused to whom I should give the answer, to whom should I be answerable. See, in example, a salesman in a company is allowed to give a maximum of 15% discount by the marketing manager. This was the instruction of marketing manager, that you can give 15% discount. However, the financial manager expresses his unhappiness and insists him not to offer more than 10%. So this contradiction in the instruction always creates confusion in the mind of salesman and affect his performance adversely. Always salesman will be confused to whom I should obey and whom I should not obey. Means there are the conflict between the order of marketing manager and financial manager. So it should not be in the organization, otherwise employees will be confused. According to him, there should be a unity of command, there should be one boss. See the consequences, what is positive impact if it is followed in any organization. There is no confused situation for the subordinates, and the efficiency of subordinates will also increase. He know what to be done, how to be done, whom I am answerable, and easy to fix responsibility. And if it is not followed, that create a confused situation for the subordinate, reduce the efficiency of the subordinate, and conflict due to the injured ego of the superior. How if he will follow the instruction of marketing manager, then financial manager ego will be hurt, and if financial manager's instruction if he is following, then marketing manager ego will hurt. This is what the situation will create in the organization, and difficult to fix accountability, and he may be careless ki I was confused to whom I was to be followed or not to be followed. So this is what the situation will be created in the organization if it is not followed in any organization. Now let us move to the fifth principle. First you see the picture that gives you the idea. This, see, in this picture three colors are given, they are mixed with, and if it is formed in individual groups, yellow in different group, green in different group, blue in different group, so groups are made first. And see here direction, one individual, how this arrow is made, how the direction is given, accordingly this individual will move in the right side, or next individual will move to the left side. So this is what the picture shows, that there should be a unity of direction, there should be a common plan for each group, and there should not be different directions given by the department head. So let us see the meaning of first the principles meaning. Unity of directions means that there should be one head, in charge should be one, and one plan for a group of activities having the same objective. Means in charge should be one and plan should also be common. And see with example, suppose that a company is manufacturing three product, body deodorant, soap and face cream, hence having three divisions, as each product has its own markets and problems, therefore each division must have its own head. So every department, every product is having their own individual head, and there should be a common plan for each department, each divisions. This is what about this, and you there is a difference between unity of command and unity of direction. You must be very clear about these two principles. What is the difference between these two principles? Unity of command means uh, one boss should give the order to their subordinate, and unity of directions means every divisional head should be there and there is a common plan for each division. Now see what will be the positive and negative effect of this principle. First, that leads to advantage of course is specialization, increase in the efficiency of the organization, and easy to achieve objective. There will be a common plan, each division knowing their objective and accordingly they will move. And if it is not followed, then again advantage of specialization not achieved, decrease in the efficiency of an organization, and difficulty in achieving the objective. So this is what about its positive effect, and if it is not followed, that what will be the negative effect. Now next to the move to the next principle. See this picture, individuals are standing, every individual have their own personal goals, but he emphasizes that the individual's goals only be fulfilled if organizational goals will be achieved. Means all individuals should be motivated to work towards achieving organizational goals, not their personal goals. So this is what about this principle means, each and every each activity should be towards achieving organizational goal, not the personal goal. Let's see the meaning with example. Subordination of individual interest to general interest. According to this principle, the interest of an organization should take priority over the interest of any one individual employees. Now this meaning is very clear that individuals organizational goals should be given the priority over the individual interest. With example, an employee of a company willingly to agree work overtime as and when required in the organization, so that the deadlines can be met on time. So this is what if suppose organization need your extra time, so that what deadline is given to complete the work, so this is what individuals should give the extra time. They will not see on the watch that I should go home, just 9 to 5 is my job, why I should stand, why should I be in the organization more than 8 hours. So that it should not be. If it is if by staying at organization for more 2 hours, if that deadline will be achieved, organizational goal will be achieved, then definitely his personal goal will also be achieved. So this should be the attitude of individuals towards the organization. Now see what is positive and negative effect. Observing humanity means if you are working in any organization and organization is fulfilling your needs, then definitely you should be human. If there is if the organization is in need, then you should give your valuable time to the organization. This is what the humanities also says. And organizational objectives are obtained. Of course, organizational goal will achieve if unitely all individuals will give their best effort. And coordination between individual and organizational objective means both are working for the betterment of the organization. This lead to development of coordination between the individual and the organization. And if it is not followed, humanity, everyone is just looking at the watch, 9 to 5, why I should stand here. So this means there is no humanity. You are not thinking about the welfare of the organizations. Definitely your welfare will not be fulfilled, and hindrance in achieving, of course, organizational goals will not be achieved. And of course there is a lack of coordination between the individual and organizational. So both are moving in the separate direction, different directions, then coordination is not possible. So this way, this is the how it is going to benefit the organization if it is followed, and how it hamper the organization if it is not followed. Now next, move to the seventh and last principle of today's video. First you see the picture. By this picture, what idea you are developing? See, the coins a individual are having, that is what the remuneration they are getting. And it should be fair, and it should be that much that fulfill the standard of living. That only leads to the satisfaction of individual, then only he will give his best to the organization. All the benefits is given to the employees like HRA, medical facility, insurance, bonus, time to time bonus, all these some of the benefits that should be given to the employees, then only he will be happy. All his rights should be fulfilled. So this is what environment shows ki all employees are happy because their basic needs are fulfilled. They are satisfied with the organization. So this is one of the important factor organization achieve the goal. If employees are not happy, that and he will looking for the next better option, he is not getting sufficient salary, and then this will lead to increase the employees turnover. Employees turnover means in a year how many employees left the organization. So this should not be increased in the organization. So means better salary or fair salary should be given to the employee. Now its meaning. According to this principle, employees should be paid fair remuneration, which should give them at least a reasonable standard of living. Fair vary organization to organization, but as per his its income, as per the income of the organization, what share a employee should get, that should be fair. An employee, suppose working in an organization for which he is getting only rupees 10,000 per month, which is far below the prevailing rate in the similar industries. Due to the amount of remuneration he is getting, he is not able to satisfy his all needs and also not able to maintain the standard of living. As a result, he resigned from the organization and joined the other organization on a payment prevailing in the market standard. So this is what leads to dissatisfy the employee, and he will leave the organization directly or indirectly. It will hamper the organization. So remuneration should be fair. Now see the what is positive and negative impact. Increase in the encouragement and satisfaction of the employee. This leads to encouragement that I should give my best to the organization and satisfy the employees also. Of course, decline in the labor turnover rate, that nobody wants to leave this organization, and develop the spirit of dedication among the employee. All employees will be dedicatedly they will perform their job. And if it is not given, fair remuneration is not given, then again it will decline the encouragement, and certain nobody is encouraged, nobody is satisfied. So that will encouragement to dishonesty, that also lead to dishonesty, because his basic needs are not fulfilled, then he is not performing honestly. So this is what the consequences if this principle is not followed in organization. So this is what we have learned, all 7 principles of Henry Fayol. Pictorial presentation shown with example, it is explained, and its positive and negative impact. And on this topic you will get the question, case study question. You have to identify the principle. Even sometime it is asked, write to positive effect or its negative effect. So this is what the pattern of question you will get in the board exam. So you must be very thorough about each and every principle. So this is all about this topic. Okay, thank you so much.